All right, everyone, welcome to our joint meeting of the Northwest, Central, and Coastal San Pedro Planning and Land Use Committees. We're going to start with some introductions here in the room. Perhaps we'll start with that side of the table.
Elise Swanson, Coastal San Pedro Neighborhood Council Land Use.
And Alexander, Northwest.
Frank Anderson, Central.
Downhill Lake Coastal.
Lamar Line, Central.
Javier, Northwest.
Diana Nave Northwest.
Javier Gonzalez Camarillo, Central.
Noel Gould, Coastal.
And online we have Greg Ellis from Coastal and Tom Norman from Northwest. Good. And all three neighborhood councils. Yeah,
Not sure about Central.
there's so few people here.
He's not sure about Central.
Lamar and myself.
Yeah.
We have enough.
Yeah,
We have a quorum.
yes, we're good.
Okay, very well. We'll get started. Diana, it's the presenter for the first time, gonna be on.
It could be, and I, I'm stuck from today, so I know they'll be here, so.
Maybe we move on to the next item.
Yeah.
So we're gonna move up to item 3, which is the One San Pedro specific plan. And
Hold on 1 second, let's just see who's here. Here they are.
Oh, they are.
We'll go ahead and take them.
Are you promoting them?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll reconvene and we'll go back to item 2.
What one in that? Dash. Yes. Oh, no, there it is.
Kathy, can you hear us?
Make them a co-host. Because they're
Yes,
not.
You're muted.
Yeah, I can hear you guys. Sorry for the delay. I was actually looking for a link and I didn't realize it was on the page. So sorry for all making you guys wait.
Oh, no, not at all.
Thank you. You can go ahead and do your presentation. I don't know if we need to share the screen or anything
Yeah, we
like
need to
that.
give her screen sharing privileges.
Okay, we're gonna make you a co-host so you can
I
share the
did.
screen.
I made it.
Awesome. Thank you.
I think I did.
All right, let's see. I am going to pull this up and then I'm going to share just with you guys in a second.
Who is this guy?
All right, so let's see if I have sharing privileges. Let's
This is
see.
Shante Walker from the Niles Foundation.
Okay.
Thank you.
3.
Number
No, we're
2.
on number 2. We went back to EV Clean 15 project with Shante Walker, CEO of the Niles Foundation.
Yes, we're back to 2.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, welcome, Shante.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate you guys wanting to hear about this project. And I'm just going to jump right into it since I was a little bit late. So I am Shante Walker, the founder and CEO of the Niles Foundation. We do a lot of work in climate, from building land to urban farming to solar and affordable housing to clean mobility, and currently now a few community resilience hubs. And so this project right here is focused on our clean mobility for CD15. So a little bit about us. We are a 501c3 and we cover the service area from USC all the way down to San Pedro. Next, so the EV15 Clean 15 is really just a clean mobility project that is focused on making sure that our communities have access to clean transportation. It's there to mitigate problems such as pollution, to decrease GHG gas emissions, but most importantly, we really want to know what our communities want in order to shape an effective community transportation system. It's not an easy thing, and I think the most important thing is about making sure that we shape it based off what the community wants, not what we think should be implemented. So, how we serve, it's important for us to first give you guys the first response as to when developments are being activated in the community by listening, by shaping, and continuing to build equitable partnerships. This project focuses on the community, obviously from Watts to Wilmington to Harbor Gateway, and of course, San Pedro. Part of this project is to stay connected, making sure that we seek advice and we get direction for this project so it can be most successful and effective. Another part of it is to increase volunteerism and to support community togetherness by doing community events and having a community residents volunteer and also to participate. So the nuts and bolts of this program or this project is how does it serve CD15? The EV Clean 15 is a community EV microtransit that serves the 1-5. Main service areas are Watts, Wilmington, Harbor Gateway, and San Pedro. Destination stops include crucial and necessary locations, such as hospitals, pharmacies, parks, schools, and grocery stores. The EV Clean 15 will include future access and/or deployment for EV chargers locally. The transit also is about compact zero emissions, not big, huge, bulky transportation, but more so compact, i.e. ZEVs, and also increases hiring locally. This project is intended to serve 200,000 residents by 2027. And currently, I think some of you guys have met up. Currently, we're conducting a community needs assessment, and we have about 375 voices to go left out of 1,000. So we're really, really happy, and that will complete our phase 1. The big goals of this project is 1, to provide greater, safe, attractive, and clean public transportation designed by the community for the community. 2nd, to reduce local GHG gas emissions and air pollution by increasing clean transportation riders. Also, to increase local jobs, training, and volunteerism through clean mobility. Does someone have a question? No? Okay. Also, to increase community access to incentives, resources, EV transportation, EV infrastructure, and/or equipment. Also, to increase community education around GHG emissions reduction and EVs and EV infrastructure. Most importantly, to promote monthly community workshops and events for the initiative. Also, to encourage goals, feedback, and really raise the voices of the community to shape the project further. Most importantly, above all, the biggest part of this is partnerships and collaboration with community members, stakeholders, and local organizations to make sure that we are adding everything we can for this project to be its best for the community's needs. This project is geared to launch either late this year or early 2025. The project operates in Watts, Wilmington, Harbor Gateway, and San Pedro. One of the greatest benefits about this project is people keep asking, who is this going to cost? It's not going to cost anyone anything. This project has been funded. This project is focused on making sure that we can offer low or free cost transportation to the community. And last but not least, if you guys have questions, want to partner, collaborate, or connect, please feel free. We would love to talk to you. And you can contact us at cleanmobility@thenilesfoundation.org, or you can go to our site at www.evclean15.org. And I am finished. Thank you guys for listening.
Thank you. Do we have questions? Go ahead, Noel.
Thanks so much for the presentation. Really appreciate that. Can you hear me okay?
I can.
You said that it was funded. That's great. Where did the funding source come from?
LADWP.
So DWP, is that something that is coming from the existing revenue, or is there some add-on that's going to appear on people's bills in the future to cover this?
I love that question. No, 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 and no. So how it works is DWP wanted to provide a project that was going to bring equity and to find a solution to decreasing GHG gas emissions that could be funded. They had a budget. We said we can write an RFP that won't cost anyone anything. And so we were awarded that. And so we built a project based on our existing friends, families, and stakeholders in San Pedro and Harbor Gateway and Wilmington and Watts. And here we are today. So no extra fees, no extra bills, no extra costs.
That's great. How many vehicles do you propose for the district?
So right now we're looking at a multitude of vehicles. We have not chosen one. I'm going to be honest, it was very difficult. We were looking at small 6-seaters to compact 22, and we're still not sure. I think if we go with the 22-seaters, we're looking at somewhere between 3 to 5 of those. If we do the small compacts, we're not exactly sure, but we think that we're trying to push for the 3 to start, which each district will have at least one vehicle to start. And every year we're going to continue to grow that out.
Great. And final question, is there a distance limitation? Is this going to be something that would be running like a bus schedule that people, there'd be certain routes that they would take and people would just hop on? Or is it something that people can like sort of call on demand if they need to go a certain place?
I love that question. One, because when we started, we didn't know which way it was going to go. And so we thought, okay, routes make the most sense. That's what everybody loves. But then when we started talking to the community, obviously in San Pedro and Harbor Gateway and Watts and Wilmington, it changed. And so we're considering both. We're thinking of an on-demand, and we're also thinking about a route where people can just jump on, because the feedback that we got was that we have different people with different schedules. We have different people with different needs, people who want to get to work, people who want to get to the pharmacy. And so we realized that we wanted it to be most equitable, and that we might need to have multiple options for the community.
Yeah, I mean, it would make sense to have some that would go within each district, for example, and then go from San Pedro to Watts, for example, or, from any
That's
of
right.
the places to downtown, if somebody had to work down there or whatever, or the west side or that sort of thing. Right.
Absolutely.
Great.
Oh, okay, great.
Thank you.
Greg, you got a question?
Yes, I do. And thank you, Shante, for the presentation.
Yeah.
Your last answer actually touched on this a little bit, where you talked about some of the things that you've heard from the surveys and the groundswell for an on-demand service. I was wondering if you could elaborate more broadly on the types of things that you've heard from the surveys thus far about what types of locations people really want to be served, what they've heard about or what they've told you about existing service options in the area, etc.
Love that. Thank you. Okay, so one of the biggest things was being able to get out of San Pedro and get to the west side for jobs. That was really huge. One of the other ones was being able to get to the pharmacies when you don't have transportation. And the third biggest one was being able to have transportation that was safe, and i.e. to schools. So right now we're focused on looking at those measurements. We're talking high schools or K through 12, colleges, community colleges, and figuring out what the best routes are going to be. Because we aren't starting with the huge fleet, we're not sure how it's going to turn out. And we still have another 30% to go with voicing, but those were the biggest 3 things that we saw. Also, people want EVs, but they can't afford them. And they didn't see enough EV infrastructure for charging. So we're looking at how we can bring in EV charging that is going to also help support those who may take transportation and then want to end up purchasing EV on their own, or just having the access to get out of the community, or to get to parks, or to get to schools, or to the pharmacies. Another big thing, I'm sorry, I should have said this, is also the hospitals, being able to get to like the hospitals and clinics. Those were the biggest things that we saw. Obviously funding, and then not also having the education to understand what this big, uproar is about EVs, not understanding the education or the financial savings behind it, and understanding how this really helps the community.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you for the question.
Jason, you have a question?
Yeah, a few questions. So first of all, thank you for the presentation. Sounds like a pretty interesting little project you got going on here. Curious if you've been integrating or talking to LA Metro at all to coordinate pickup spots, routes, complementary places that are underserved by LA Metro currently? That's question 1.
Great. Thank you for sharing that. We have not talked to Metro yet, but they are on our list to talk to. We did follow 3 models, Metro, Dot, and Dash. Those are the first routes that we started to look at to figure out, okay, where are the stops? Where are the areas we should be at? But the biggest thing about stops is the problem is that when you're riding the bus, you have to stop at almost every corner. Well, we didn't really want that because everyone doesn't need to stop at the corner. They need to get to certain key crucial locations like schools, parents who need to take their kids to school, people who need to get to the pharmacy, people who need to get to the clinic, people who need to get to the park or want to get outside, people who may need to go to their affordable housing unit or just the housing unit in general. So we followed that model, but we're not going
We're cutting
to
out.
follow completely. And one of our partners is Caltrans. We definitely Caltrans about did someone say something?
Oh, it was
Okay.
just
I hope
cutting
you guys
out a
can hear me.
little bit.
But okay, got it. I hope you guys heard the last part of what I said is that Caltrans is one of our partners. When we first started working on this, that's the first group of people or organizations that we started speaking with about. We are part of the Metro CBO network, and so we do plan to talk to Metro and understand if there are some other things that we should be looking at, because we don't want to be a big transportation company or organization. We want this to be really for the community and by the community. So there are no red tapes, there are no issues when a community member voices their opinion and want to see this shaped into the program. And so that's kind of where we are with that.
Okay, so
Very well. Pat, do you have a question?
Yes, thank you for your presentation. So I'm glad to hear you say that you're working with Caltrans. One item on our agenda tonight is consideration of our comments on the Vincent Thomas Bridge draft EIR, decking of it, where the bridge may be closed for several years, or certainly impacted for maybe as long as 4 years. So the rerouting of traffic is a major issue here. I didn't really get your timeline, and I wanted to know if you're open to, and I'm sure you are, to working with the Longshore Union, for example, and Longshore and Harbor Workers Union, get people to their terminals and so forth to try to alleviate some of the traffic jams we're going to have.
Yes, yes, yes. You actually reminded me. We were at the San Pedro Chamber of Commerce, we were at an event, we tabled, this was probably 2 months ago, a little bit over 2 months ago. And that's actually the very comment that someone had shared with us, is that it's really hard for workers at the port to get to going to the convenience store to pick up, certain supplies or food or to do things because of the timing. And so we're very, very interested to work with you all on this. Any way that we can be of support, any way that we can make this greater, we're absolutely open to doing that. We're still learning. Right now, we are at a beginner's mind. Everything that we have been learning, we've kind of threw it out of the window, and we are really just listening to what the community has to say, because oftentimes when things are being built, that's not the motto. The motto is, we know what we're doing, we know what we want to do, but the truth is we created an RFP, but we really want the community to really shape this. And so we would love to work with you all on this and making sure that we have better modes of transportation for the union.
What's your timeline? When will you be ready to roll?
We're looking at late 2024. I'm going to be honest, we should have been done with phase 1, which was our community needs assessment. We should have been done with it like 2 months ago. But, when you plan something, it doesn't always go as planned. We've got about a 30% stretch still to haul for getting these surveys out. The sooner we can get the voice to really share with us what they want and we're done, we can move a little bit faster. So we've stretched it, instead of it being this summer or early fall, it's now looking like either winter or the top of spring of next year.
Jason, do you still have a question or?
yes, so I'm not sure if you're aware of the little red trolleys. We have the wheeled trolley mini buses that kind of ride around.
Yeah.
So So that's maybe somewhat of a similar use as to what you have in mind, but you have a clean electric, a clean transportation option for that. Would you be coordinating with those trolley buses at all, and or maybe have a little themed red trolley version of this little electric bus of yours?
I'm gonna be
Sure,
honest,
Jason.
we have not thought about that, but I think that we can work something in that, because part of it is to connect to the systems that are already there and in place. And if we can get community residents to a certain trolley or certain area because they need to be there for a certain time, we're absolutely open to that. So I think part of it is if you guys know that there are systems that we should look into that we may not have discovered or understood of, we would love to hear so we can incorporate those things also.
And then the very last one is with the West Harbor remodeling and the waterfront. Of course, there is a specification for a people mover, which is to run the length of the harbor, move people back and forth. And there's also the opportunity to help people from the cruise terminal get places when the cruises come in. Are these all on your radar of people and places to organize with?
Yes. Meta, someone who you guys have probably met prior, who's has been incredible. I think kind of earlier this year, there were a lot of meetings, a lot of events that she attended, and we have scoped all of these things into our program so that we don't miss, or at least we try not to miss a beat.
Perfect. That's all I have. Thank you very much.
Thank
Linda,
you.
have a question.
Yes, I think I heard that you said something about volunteerism and workshops, and I don't understand how that fits in.
So part of what we're doing is usually when you build a project, there are tons of our community residents who are not aware. For instance, I was at a college just about a month ago, and we were talking about this project, and the young lady says, "What's an EV?" So we realized that part of this project is we're going to have to educate the community. We're going to have to help them become aware. We're going to have to do that outreach. We're going to have to get everyone, acclimated to the future and sustainability, climate, environment, green, blue industries. And everyone isn't. Only the people that are versed in these spaces are aware. And we kind of have to reach back for those community members who may not be up to par so they can benefit also. This is to benefit our community residents who may not be aware, may not have the resources, may not have the funding, but want to participate. And so part of this is to make sure that we offer events, we offer workshops, we offer opportunities for that community engagement.
Thank you.
Great. Diana.
Yeah, I've got three things.
Okay.
First, I want to make sure I heard you correct, that you're talking about somewhere between 2 and 4 vehicles total.
Say it one more time.
Did I hear you correctly? That you're talking about somewhere between 2 and 4 vehicles total in total?
3 to 5. If
3
we
to
do,
5.
yeah, 3 to 5. Right
3 to
now,
5.
we're looking at a vehicle that is, it's a 22-seater. It is all electric, but it has not yet made it to the public. One of the things that we do is we make sure that we verse ourselves in everything EV, transportation, equipment, you name it. We're at the ride and drives. We have the partners who are doing this, and we came across a vehicle that is incredible, and it's very expensive. And so because it's a very big budget ticket item, we don't know if we're going to be able to get it. So the size and the cost dictates what we can actually afford to purchase when we talk about transportation. So if we do focus on this 22-seater, we're looking at 3 of them. The cost of these things is around $300,000 each.
So the second question, I want to go back to someone, I think it was, someone asked you about the timeline. The question is, how long will this grant last? How long will you be able to do this? It's, if
Okay,
you
great.
start at the
Yeah.
beginning of January of 2025, how long are you funded for?
Absolutely. So the project is funded for 3 years. However, that's not the end. The whole idea of this project is for long-term solutions. So while we have 3 years for this project to be under funding, our goal is not for it to end in 3 years. Our goal is for it to continue to operate 5, 10 years past. So based on how this project does over the next 3 to 5 years, we'll be able to actually articulate if it's going to be past that mark.
And then my last question is, you've talked a few times about the needs assessment. It sounded like you had some type of a community survey. It would be great if we knew how to access that survey and could send it out to our various neighborhood council participants.
We would love that. We need that support. Absolutely. I can put a link in this chat. The website is the evclean15.org. Note
You know what, why don't you just send it to me and I'll just send it out to everyone.
I love that. I can send it in the chat or I can just email you, whichever.
You can put in the chat as well. I don't think there is a chat.
Okay, I'm gonna see if I can find the chat. I don't know if I saw it.
We're not allowed to have a chat.
Okay. Okay.
Thank
So
you.
I'll send the email for sure, and you guys will have access to that. I think that would be really, really great. Thank you so much for your questions.
Javier,
Okay, Lamar,
you talk about 4 service areas, Watts, Wilmington, Harbor Gateway, and San Pedro. You're only talking about 3 vehicles? The service
Yeah.
open for 3 vehicles.
If we can start with the 3, Jess, absolutely. The corridor of Harbor Gateway, that's, our kind of passing. So what we've envisioned is having a vehicle stationed in San Pedro, one in Watts, one in Wilmington. They will all connect throughout all of CD15, but they will have housing stations in these areas. The Harbor Gateway will be more like a corridor for passing through and getting in and out from San Pedro to Watts and Wilmington, or Wilmington and Watts to San Pedro.
4 areas, 3 vehicles. Is there a command center?
No command center physically, but there will be one remotely, i.e. we will have operators, we will have riders, we will have a software system, an app. All of these things are under development. We also are looking for a place to house these actual vehicles because we do not have a place to house these vehicles for the community. So this is what we're looking into too right now. Will be phase 2 of our project. Phase 1 is just really focusing on our community needs assessment. Although we've written out everything, we really can't move forward until we really understand what we're dealing with the community, and then we can assess and change some of these other things that may be a challenge. So part of it is to identify where we can house these places, and if we can build a command center physically, we will also incorporate that. But right now, it will be from one of our warehouses or locations that we have remotely to track and for customer service and apps and all those things. But we do not have a command center.
Okay, move on.
one more question.
Thanks again, Shante. Really appreciate all of your answers. You mentioned earlier, when you were talking about the possibility of 3 to 5 of the 22 seaters or smaller ones in larger quantity. But you mentioned serving 200,000 residents by 2027. And I'm wondering how that pencils out. Is that like 200,000 people who have used the service once over the entire 3-year period? Or is that something that you're talking about serving 200,000 people a year? I'm just wondering how it pencils out to come to that number.
Absolutely.
By that
I
date.
get exactly what you're saying. Thank you for that question. So we want everyone to actually ride it. So what we're talking about when we say 200,000 is for every person in the community to have rode this transportation system. We don't have the capacity to ride 200,000 residents daily. We wish we did, but we do plan on adding vehicles every year. And so as the project grows, we will also grow the transportation. We don't know how much the transportation will increase by in 2027, but we're looking to add at least 1 to 2 vehicles every year. So by 2027, obviously it will have doubled from what we started with, or maybe even tripled if we can add 2. But yes, we would love for everyone in the community to have ridden from top of Watts all the way to San Pedro. We would have loved. So that's the goal. But I think we're going to start with a very, very small percentage first, and then allow the project to grow over time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Shante, thank you. Thank you for your presentation. And if you could share that website information.
And we'll keep pushing out the survey.
Awesome. You guys are wonderful. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak with you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, we're gonna move on to item 3 on the agenda, which is update on the One San Pedro specific plan. Please.
Right, so I have circulated a draft letter to everyone, and Javier, I sent it to your email because I know folks on the screen don't have it, but we've been in communication with the One San Pedro development team and are dismayed to learn that the development team just was informed by the planning department after 2.5 years of work, an EIR that was certified on November 30th, 2023, that the planning staff wants the developers at Hackla to go back and rewrite the specific plan based on the new zoning code recode. The problem with this is that they can't do it until recode is adopted by the city council sometimes in 2025. So, I know, that was my reaction too. In a housing crisis with a mayor's directive to build housing, Lee's joined us today because the chamber's been, I guess, 10 years we've been working on this. And so I wrote this letter to Mr. Bertoni, the director of planning. I mean, 2.5 years, 4 years of effort spent in the community on outreach on the EIR and specific plan, $4 million spent on the effort, and now they're being told to rewrite the specific plan, which is a lot of risks. They rewrite it, they may have to reopen the EIR, do a subsequent EIR, funding and time, additional dollars, additional timeline, and uncertainty with recodes. We really don't know what's going to happen. So what I'm approaching everybody tonight with this letter that we want to send to Mr. Bertoni to say, just accept and expedite the specific plan that your staff has been working with Hackla on for 2.5 years. Move it forward. We want the public hearing in August that we were originally promised so we can get this project moving forward. Because I think, Lee, it's already a 10 to 15 year build out as it is.
Yeah.
And, this is just, that housing is rapidly deteriorating. It's been promised to the community. And so I just wanted to present this to, all of you, to see what you think about signing on, adopting this letter and taking it to your individual, neighborhood councils. And Lee and I can answer, questions as best we can, but I know the chamber, Councilmember McCosker's involved. I know Lee and I have talked to him. Hackla's talked to him, the developers. He is trying to get this expedited. There's another project on the west side which was allowed to move forward under their current specific plan. We want to know why the west side, why not San Pedro? And so I just open it up for discussion.
Yeah, it seems like it would be easier to adopt a specific plan and then revise it as needed, because I don't think it affects any of the first parts of the plan.
Right.
Um,
And I'm not a planner, but my understanding, and Noel, maybe you can help me with this, is when you adopt a specific plan, you are adopting the zoning and everything that goes along with it. You're adopting the actual development standards in
And
that
that may be
plan.
part of, and that's part of why they're challenging it, because they want to
Correct.
adopt it under the new one, but all the other zoning in San Pedro is still under the old one, and they're gonna have to.
So that's, but we'll see the development plan as the specific plan is adopted. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. It lays out what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
Well, the specific plan is the primary, it's the superseding zoning document for the area that's indicated in the specific plan, like coastal zone, for example, has the San Pedro specific plan that supersedes, like, for example, the regular LAMC.
Right, exactly,
Yeah.
right.
yeah, and I think.
And when we
some of the-
revised our community plan, that was left untouched with the understanding that there was going to be a specific plan brought in later for that area.
Correct.
That was, in fact, we may want to say that in the letter, that was one of the things that, as we talked about the revisions to our plan, we left that with the concept, the idea in mind that they were going to bring in a specific plan.
Okay. I'll follow up with you maybe on some exact language.
Who is this fellow, Bertoni, Director of Planning? Is he the person that's behind this idea of
So
holding
he's,
things up?
he's basically the general manager of the planning department.
He's the top of the top.
Yeah, so we have a whole list of planners that have like 5 planners that have been working on this for 2.5 years.
My question is, really, who's behind this idea of holding things up for
The
recode?
person below,
But he would make.
Both of you spoke the same time.
I'm sorry.
the person right below Bartoni is, yeah.
Yeah, so there are 5 planners. It's at a staff level right now, and I have all their names. And it's been at a staff level, and that's why we're trying, current planners, Melina Zazandian, Mindy Nguyen, Moore Song, James Harris, Lucy Ibarra, Kathleen King, and Will Lamborn have all been working on this for 2.5 years with HACLA. And
Keep in
so,
mind that from a developer standpoint, this is a 10 to 15-year project,
Yeah.
right?
right,
But in the conversations we've had, the overall costs when it comes to the interest rates going up, the materials costs going up, the labor costs going up, we've seen a 25 to a 60% increase in the total cost of this project. And these are the reasons why it happens. I just reviewed affordable housing project here in San Pedro today that has a price per unit of $1 million. And if that doesn't make people sick, they're not paying attention. So
Didn't it used to be a bargain of 600,000?
it used to be around 750, yeah. And so
but I think the human toll too, because
The
they
human
haven't
toll.
been investing in Rancho San Pedro in anticipation of this project moving forward.
my own personal goal with this project is Rancho San Pedro is an island. It's definitely has an opportunity to be integrated with the rest of San Pedro in a meaningful way. As the rest of San Pedro is experiencing economic benefits from redevelopment, Rancho San Pedro has folks that are living in these World War II housing that they can't get Wi-Fi because some of the walls are a foot thick. And so being able to modernize their living situation, also to reduce the number of shootings, because part of the plan is to harden that area towards gang activity. So being able to create a livable space, being able to create retail and for small business opportunities, job training. I'm working on a project right now with some reentry. There's all these different things that this Rancho San Pedro, One San Pedro can benefit from. They're on hold until we get these little ticky-tacky things removed.
Well, the key thing we're looking for is adoption of the specific plan.
Yes.
Correct.
Right, and that's the stage that the hearings would be done in August, correct?
Correct. So that's hopefully, because the ask is, we ask that you move forward with the One San Pedro specific plan that the environmental impact report relied upon and schedule a hearing for August 2024.
And where does the hearing stand in the order of things that have to be done before there's the adoption of the specific plan?
They need the public hearing to adopt the plan. It's their next step.
And the planning department would adopt it first and then it would go to the city council?
That's my understanding. It would follow a typical, path.
When would we see the specific plan get to the city council if everything went well?
I'm sorry, say that again.
When would we expect to see the specific plan hit the city council?
We want this adopted under the existing specific plan.
Understood. Well, there is no existing specific plan, right? It's
It's a draft.
The draft.
Yeah.
It's a draft. And that one, what's our,
I was adopted, it still would have several more steps, I think, before it gets to city council, so you're probably talking about several months.
Right, yeah, I think so too, but and like go to Plum
Yeah.
and I mean, it'll be a hearing at every level and. I mean, we still have a long timeline, but they really want to get this first hearing scheduled to make it trigger the
I'm
process.
hampered by my past.
You're hampered by your past.
Yes, which I have a considerable.
Okay,
Oh,
Been around a long time, but I'm thinking tactically, and I'm wondering, that's why I'm asking the question.
okay.
So we've got a specific plan and hopefully it hits the city council,
Mhm.
maybe by the end of the year or something like that,
Or probably
first of the
January.
year.
Mhm.
And Tim is in favor of doing it on the basis of the proposed
Correct,
city plan, which has been drafted.
correct.
Correct.
Mhm.
All right, and so the fly in the ointment, so to speak, here is this assistant under Vince Bertoni.
Yes.
So our goal is to get Vince Bertoni and tell him to back off or to get the planning.
To allow it to move forward as it is currently drafted.
What role does the planning commission play in all of this?
I mean, there'll be an approval in the process. I mean, so.
They direct Bertoni, or he's a council controlled department, right?
So we're gonna speak with the mayor's office. So Will Lamborn, who's worked on this project for years, is now been transferred to the mayor's office to advise on housing and planning. So we would send the letter to Mr. Bertoni out of courtesy, and then we're CCing Mayor Bass, her housing team, economic development team, the council member Pam Thornton. I mean, we're just gonna do every single person in the chain. But we really want Mr. Bertoni to know how important this project is to the community and that we are supportive of it being expedited and moved forward. Because it has been 2.5 years they've been working on
Yeah,
it.
so this.
This aspect of the plan,
Did that-
it's been 10 years.
Longer.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say it's definitely, because if you look, you can see some of the dates when they filed the environmental case, city planning case filed. I mean, this has been an ongoing process for, I don't know, I feel like 10 years, but I know probably
It's-
4.
No, it's probably,
Oh, no.
no, it's been 10 years, yeah.
I'm
Since they
thinking,
were selected, but then we've gone through community outreach to,
Yeah.
And the people that live there, the residents that live there, feel like the government is this bait and switch agency that's
Yes.
promised so many things and made it impossible for them to be delivered.
Yeah, and I would actually like to add a sentence in here that says that the residents of Rancho San Pedro deserve.
Okay, I will add that in.
Well, and
Exactly.
if you think about it, on the realistic timeline, what it would do is, we have probably 8 to 12 months before that other structure gets built. And the transfer of the
Then,
tenants.
yeah.
It would prevent the development of that replacement
There's that
project.
piece too.
So whatever delay, they can't start on that until they figure out what that zoning is.
Oh, typical.
I have two thoughts.
Yes.
One is that, and I think you mentioned it earlier, that wherever you go in the city, you operate according to what the law is
Mhm.
now, and the law is
Yes,
not weak code.
to place it upon the future, yeah, it's ridiculous.
If you were a private developer, you would be entitled, you could go to court anytime and say, stuff it up your nose, you can't.
Yeah, because that other code hasn't been adopted either, so it's not like
What
that.
if it doesn't? What if it's never adopted?
If it is.
Random here.
Or what if it's heavily modified?
Right.
It's certain to be heavily modified. That's one thought I had, at least for the other one is, the second line of paragraph 2, it says 2.5 years later, city planning staff.
Yes.
I would be more than pleased to see something like an assistant in your staff as.
So they've been meeting with large teams of planners. That's why I hate to call.
Leave it, yeah, we don't want to call that.
Is that they're big team meetings.
And plus the people directly under Vince Bertoni are not assistants. They're like major players and high ups in the
Yeah.
entire
No,
planning.
it's horrible.
They have hundreds of people working underneath
As
them.
far as I'm concerned, there's nobody high up in the planning.
Well, it's allegedly it's Vince Bertoni. I mean, he is the point on all of this. So
Somebody is leading the charge on this thing and it's causing havoc, right?
correct.
The
And
more we can isolate those people and say, hey, look at, what are you doing? You know,
Well, it's his staff, so I think he.
directs his staff. I mean.
You want to make that call, yeah.
I would like to entertain him. Are you done, Pat?
I say planning staff gives too much weight and too much credibility to it. Just maybe the word someone is indicated to the housing authority.
No, it's his staff, and I think
just-
it's letting him say that.
Okay,
I would like to entertain a motion for Northwest that would have Pat's additions and all the additions we've talked about.
Okay,
So
Make a motion that we approve this draft letter as amended for, I guess that's it.
Okay.
You know, in a way, the residents of Rancho San Pedro have been denied their due process based on what they've been promised.
Yep.
Right.
This has been, and these developers have been some of the best ones in terms of engaging the community and being an open door and taking suggestions and, you know, really doing it right. I mean, there's a lot who don't, and
right.
these guys have.
I like how they're now remodeling or redoing Jordan Downs, that we're eliminating all of the headaches that relocation program has.
It's almost like the ones who have been doing it right and engaging the community properly are being punished.
Yeah. So
So we had a
we have a
motion.
motion on the floor for Northwest. Do I have a second for Northwest? Pat's gonna second it. Okay, any other Northwest discussion? Okay, so then we will vote. Linda? Yes. Pat?
Yes.
Jason?
Yes,
And Diana, yes, so it carries with the amendments and Pat's gonna help you with
Okay.
the language that he was talking about.
That would be
And
great.
I think you got the,
I took notes, but I can draft it. We can go back and forth on the draft.
Sentence now.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I would suggest putting something in about them being denied a due
Right,
process. I
did take that note, okay?
All right, for Central, what do you guys feel like? Do we need to have further discussion on this? Mark?
Yes.
Okay. Our meeting is next, our meeting is next week, so
you were saying. you
We'll
need
just
to
bring it up.
discuss further?
Bring it up there.
yeah.
Are there any questions we can answer now or prepare for your meeting for next week? Are there concerns you have about the letter?
Not so much the letter, it's in terms of background information, which is, this is kind of new. Procedural standpoint, I've suggested to the chair of Central that, there should, go through a process.
Okay,
So that's,
Okay.
But it'll be timely.
yeah, just let me know what background or documents you
Okay.
need, and I have a lot and I can send them over. Okay, so you're,
Good.
Well, personally, I would just like to see the amendments that you make to the
okay,
modifications.
Okay.
So
That would be-
so we will have them for discussion. That's next week, isn't it?
Yeah,
Your board meeting is next week?
no,
they're,
the
they're
committee
planning
meeting,
meeting.
Central.
Yeah,
Board.
okay, okay.
Let's go, you take it back.
Yeah, we'll
Are you
take
gonna?
it back. I mean, I'm in agreement with this. I don't think that there's any objection with the committee members here, Greg.
No, you've got this question about whether you're gonna meet between now and your next
Yeah.
board meeting. And this needs to go on your next board agenda, so you may wanna.
Yeah.
About whether you wanna act
no,
tonight or.
I understand that. I don't think that we would not meet. We always have a lot of items on our agendas. But this is definitely something we want to put on it, and it would be great to have all of the wording of the amendments that we talked about here. So
Okay.
You could forward that over as soon as you've
Okay.
articulated them, and
Yep.
we may even add some
And
more.
that's my, this is just a base letter. Yeah, just, do what you need to do with it.
No, I think we all are in support.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean, conceptually.
Yeah.
It's important, that's for sure.
All right,
Here, let's delay it another 3 years.
all right, very good. We'll move on to the next item, which is consider comments on the Vincent Thomas Bridge BIR, Pat.
I think I'm gonna start off and then turn it over to Pat.
Okay,
Because the letter that we've prepared is based on a lot of feedback from a lot of different people, but it's kind of got two parts, and I'm gonna talk about the first part and Pat's gonna talk about the second part. The first part just lays out the 4 options for the project. The option of the single stage construction, which would take about 16 months with total closure of the bridge. The second one, which would take about 25 months with one lane open in each direction.
That's central.
The third one, which would take about 32 months, is a little unclear as to what the differences between the two are. It sounds like maybe the number of weekends that would be closed might be different. And then the last one was the nighttime closure, which just would leave it open in the daytime and close it from from 7 PM to 6 AM, and that would take about 48 months. So those were the four options. And that would really, the $64,000 question is, what option do we prefer? And so the way we've drafted the letter, and this could certainly be changed, is that the single stage construction option with the cast or orthopic construction and with financial incentives and disincentives would preferred. Get it done and get it over with. And it lays out some reasons for this. First of all, it's a 24/7 port, so nighttime closures are almost as problematic as daytime closures. Weekend closures are also problematic because we have special events like Fleet Week, the concerts will go on in Harbor, the Olympics, cruise ship passengers. The full closure would be less confusing. With the partial closures, people would need to remember the time it's closed and know whether it's closed that particular night or that particular weekend, because it wouldn't necessarily be every weekend. If there's an accident or a truck breaks down with only one lane open each direction, it's going to create a traffic nightmare. It's one of the few exits from San Pedro in case of disaster, should be closed for the shortest time possible. And it's also reasonable to assume that given the limitation on hours and the potential for accidents and traffic backup, most people would probably still choose the detour, even if there is one lane open, so a lot of the traffic
Yeah.
implications would still be there.
And it's a good point. I agree.
So that's what it says now. At the issues committee last night.
I'm sorry, just one quick question.
Yeah.
What was the option? Wasn't there an option that had one lane open in each direction?
Yes.
At all times?
No, not at all times. Both of them required multiple weekend closures and overnight full closures.
Was there one that had one lane open that they would direct traffic during the night?
Not that we could understand.
Yeah, they needed to use the other lane.
Should be one of the suggest.
I had heard, but when they did the actual presentations, they did not say this. I had heard that third option was actually just to have one lane open, period. So you would put traffic going one way and then you would have traffic going the other way. But they did not say that in the presentation or in the written materials. So we never totally understood the difference between those two
Yeah, I
options.
mean, the traffic is definitely lighter at night, but if they did that, at least at night, be able to get some flow of traffic going each way.
Well,
they would
this
want to
is
do it
talk
in the
about,
day.
yeah, this is talk about total closure at night.
Mhm.
That those two options still included total closure at night.
I'm not in Favor of.
The option that somebody suggested at the issues committee meeting, I wasn't there, but they suggested that maybe we should have also suggest that they look at only allowing the trucks to use the bridge, using the one lane in each direction, but making it only open to the trucks. Yeah, keeping the trucks more off of the streets in Wilmington. So that was another option. So that's the first part of the letter.
At night too for the trucks, or still, they're talking about totally closing it at night?
I think they would still be talking to total closure. Well, I don't know, because they'd have to look at it. Caltrans would have to come back. And maybe that would be something else that you would want to say, but that would extend it even longer. Because right now they're talking about 25 to 32 months with overnight full closures of the bridge.
Yeah, but if it was longer, but it was open, I mean,
Well, that I think that's the option. You
Yeah.
guys have to
Yeah.
evaluate. Central's board voted last week to go for the single option of shortest time frame.
And that's what Wilmington's board did also.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be painful for all of us, but the list, we gotta deal with it.
and so it's at 24 to 36 to 32 months?
The shortest time is
16.
16 months.
16 months.
Good luck with that.
16 months, and that's thinking that they're using precast pieces instead of cast in place, which would take a lot longer to set. So that's the way the difference in time is set.
And that was a total closure day and night.
Mhm.
Yep.
Mhm. Yeah, 16 months versus somewhere between 25 and 32 months otherwise.
Mhm.
I'm looking at their website, if I can interrupt.
Hmm?
I'm looking at their website. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
I'm looking at their websites. The single stage says 16 months. But potentially up to 41 months, depending upon the construction materials. and
Which is why
whether they,
it specifies the construction materials that were the shorter time.
yeah, exactly.
Specifically identifies those.
Yeah.
So there's that. Then stage 2 was 25 months with 1 lane closed each direction. With nighttime and weekend closures. And then the stage 3 was 32 months with 1 lane in each direction, multiple weekend closures and nighttime. I always got confused.
Right.
Yeah.
2 and
That's
3.
what I said. We couldn't figure out what the difference was between
What's the
those two.
difference between those?
Yeah.
We
Besides the time.
couldn't figure that out.
The material, how they are doing the construction, was a factor. No, yeah,
No.
the
No,
we made the offsite.
No, they didn't even discuss the other construction with those options. They only discussed.
For some reason, that's why I thought the longer time frame on that stage 3 was somehow keeping something open at night.
No,
Yeah,
no.
Yeah.
a lot of the time is wasted time because it's set up and cleanup from the closures and the
You have to
reopening.
reopen it. You're exactly right. Yep.
Yeah, okay, so then Pat's gonna talk about the rest of the document, which is more the environmental impacts and some other comments.
It's great that everybody here has been so involved in this. It makes it much easier to talk about because everybody kind of knows what is going on. I'm really struck by the number of cumulative impacts listed here. There's 11 that are listed and what that says about what we can expect over the next, 10, 15 years.
That would be great.
Yeah, let me do that. I'll be right back.
How about two?
Yes. Anybody else want to copy? I'll just print 5.
Thanks, Elise.
Go ahead, Pat.
I think it says an awful lot about the economy and what's gonna happen. And as Diana mentioned, even if there's no bridge redecking, we're gonna be impacted a lot in San Pedro and Wilmington. It happens that bridge redecking really makes it, it's another fly in the ointment to, complicate things more, and particularly in Wilmington, and bear the brunt of it. Of the redecking and the rerouting project, and much of this document this draft that you see here really comes from Wilmington. We've annotated it a lot, but they've done a tremendous amount of work. They really know their community. A lot of the stuff that's in here about the impacts comes from them. We modified it and put in more materials to talk about what happens in San Pedro. I want to start though on page 2. With a paragraph about why will it take so long. There's a mistake in this paragraph. It should be 4 10-foot lengths each day instead of 2 10-foot lengths each day. If they do 4 10-foot lengths of the precast concrete, for example, over the 4 lanes, it'd be 16 of those precast pieces. So 1 every hour and a half. What takes them so long? I mean, do you remember the 1994 earthquake when they got in a hurry and they rebuilt bridges in a month, 2 months' time? They could do a lot better job here. I'd like to see them explain why their timelines are so long. It's not explained in the document. So
Under promise and over deliver. Under promise and over deliver. That's probably why.
I think it's the better reason why it's not explained here is because it's California.
Well, they know there'll be incentives for finishing earlier than the estimates.
So the only mistake in their part is that the 2 needs to say 4.
Yeah, 4 10-foot lengths each day on each of the 4 lanes, so.
Yeah.
16 a day is what they're saying is gonna take them 16 months to do. If they did, well, no, they're not saying that, they're saying it's take them 16 months to do the 2,513 feet. But if they have 10-foot concrete slab, which is about from Frank to the end of the table, and you did 16 of those in a 24-hour period, you could do that in 62 days. You wouldn't need 16, you wouldn't need 480 days, which is what 16 months is. To do it, so, please explain why it's gonna take us damn long.
It has something to do with the way what do they call those ortho fits or?
Precast and the ortho.
Yeah,
There's precast.
Yeah.
and ortho.
Yeah.
yeah, you're talking about the precast
The
ones. and the
question,
drainage
all this
seals.
does is it just questions why they're gonna take so long.
It's ortho. It's a document, you make the comments, you make comments in the draft to the draft EIR that they have to respond to in the final EIR.
Right, but they're just gonna answer because it does. I mean,
Yeah, forgive my cynicism, but
Anybody.
no, but,
Decision-making position.
right, but that's,
look, if they say it's gonna be 16 months, and then they say, hey, there's gonna be an X dollar incentive for every week that you finish early, and it takes 4 months, and now all of a sudden, there's millions and millions and millions of dollars in incentives because they finished early, why not overestimate the time? I mean, it seems like that could be part of it.
Well, if Caltrans overestimating, it's not a contractor.
They finish before the length of time, right?
This is not
Makes it
a,
like efficient.
it's not a contractor overestimating the time, it's Caltrans overestimating the time, so they should be able to justify the amount of time.
how do we know that?
They should.
It's our tax dollars.
How do we know that? It's not a contractor and it's Caltrans.
Because this is a Caltrans document.
And it was their staff that were there at the hearing that would present the code.
These
But it didn't
things are
make-
typically done by
Are you
engineers,
saying that they didn't make it with input from contractors?
well, they better not have.
No, but I think it's based on their experience in some other projects. I mean, I don't know necessarily what the system is, but I could see that there could be time putting those pieces together. It's not just like, like a puzzle. I mean, you gotta put rebar and stuff and tension it, and I'm not really sure what the process is.
Just turn it into a double decker like the GW bridge. And then
Well,
do the other one after.
All I can tell you is I know how it's done in the city of Los Angeles with engineers' estimates. They tell you engineer estimates, the time and all of that. Typically, the bidders come in at probably about 2/3 of what the engineer's estimate is. Because they know ways to make the cost of it lower. This hasn't gone out to bid yet. They're gonna give
I
them
don't know if that happened with the Gerald Desmond Bridge.
I'm saying,
I don't know if that was how it played out with the Gerald Desmond.
I don't know what
Because we ended up seeing a cost overrun. A significant.
It's a beautiful bridge.
So we've got this is a long document, let's go.
The rest of it is really straightforward. I wanted to call attention to 3 paragraphs, number 25, 32, and 33. One of the things that we've talked about a lot, we've heard a lot. If you've attended the different hearings that they've had, one in Pedro, and that is the impact on the intersections. Both as to damage to the roadways, and that's addressed not in this paragraph 25, it's on page 8, but in some other paragraphs in the comment letter. But 25 relates to how they've calculated the impacts on the various intersections, and how they analyzed 58 intersections in the area. They haven't given enough attention to the ones in San Pedro, and that question is addressed in some other paragraphs in this comment letter. But in 25, this addresses how they calculated the impacts on these intersections, because the impact on the intersections is going to dictate their detour routes. For one thing, so that's an important thing. It's not clear how they calculated the impact of trucks as opposed to cars. There's a mixture of cars, about 2/3 of the traffic on the bridge is trucks. And then this car's going to be detoured someplace. how do they calculate the mix when calculating the level of service on the impacts on these 15 intersections? I just want you to close your eyes for a second and just imagine you're in a traffic intersection, normally travel. And all of a sudden, and then it's truck free. And now all of a sudden, there's one truck, 70-footer. It's in the traffic lane. What happens to your traffic at that intersection? It just goes to hell. So this paragraph asks me to explain what the traffic, clarify what traffic mix is used to compute the level of service figures used. This will do two things, or several things. One is it's going to give us better idea of what they expect the actual traffic, truck traffic conversion is going to be. It'll also tell us a little bit about how they calculated the detours that they planned. Or it'll also give us a hint as to the damage to the streets we can expect in those 58 intersections. So that's it. That's to me, this is something that's really clear. I asked the traffic engineer for Caltrans for this information, and she says we did consider it, but she couldn't find it in the DER as to how they calculated it. Numbers 32 and 33. Kind of a practical question, practical thing that Wilmington last night at their board meeting adopted a second level, which they referred to several traffic and detour sign methods, something called waves, which are for
Oh, great app.
yeah, other people know what it is.
It's been around a while.
Add a little bit to these numbers 32 and 33. To make it expand them a little bit, if the action rate to where we can put in separately. That's pretty much it.
This is great.
So there are,
I mean, this is great information.
there are 4 additional comments that Wilmington has that I'd like to see incorporated into the letter. The first one has to do with what emergency evacuation routes will be used during construction for the communities of Wilmington and San Pedro. Second one is that we support ILWU's request for food trucks to be placed on Terminal Island for the duration of this project.
It's a great idea.
Third one was we support the ILW members' request for coordination with all railroads in the area to limit rail travel during the times and areas deemed necessary by ILWU to ensure that workers are able to get to their work locations on time. That's they're gonna now have to cross the railroad and those, so if they can coordinate those times, that would be very helpful. And the last one is to support the ILWU's recommendation that a new traffic study be done. We kind of referred to it in here, but they spelled it out better. The timeframe when the current traffic report was done by Caltrans is not accurate or realistic snapshot of today's traffic trends. And they explained in the meeting why, but I don't remember the details. But I think I don't think they looked at the times that the, they weren't looking at the fact it's a 24-hour report.
Can't remember either.
So those are suggestions of additions.
So they didn't do a 24-hour traffic analysis.
Evidently not.
They did what's called a peak hour traffic analysis. Peak hour afternoon and morning traffic analysis. But that's.
Which I guess gives you the maximum, right?
Well, if you're a traffic engineer, you believe that, but if you live in an area, you know better.
Yeah, we found, for example, on Western, the traffic is actually higher at the time the kids get out of school than it is.
Oh, no, I
in the
understand,
normal-
yeah.
This is like it's a similar situation because you've got the nighttime trucks.
Right.
Because of the 24-hour.
Yeah, no, I understand. I'm on that bridge a lot at night. going back and forth to family in Orange County, and it just, I fly from Bridge at night. That's all, I'm just, I
Yeah.
mean, it's anecdotal, never mind, ignore me.
It's time to bring it up. Hey, go subject.
No, I mean, there was a jumper was the one time I got stuck on that bridge at night, so I don't know, I'm not, I don't know, Lee, you have more familiarity with ILW's work schedules. Do you think we need a whole new traffic study added in? I mean, does it add to the timeline of all of this?
I don't know if that's necessary. All I know is that my wife has to drive to Long Beach
Yeah.
regardless, because she can't work in LA anymore. And so I'm screwed.
That's a very good point.
By ILWU.
Yeah, no, I.
Because of my volunteer job,
Yeah, because of your volunteer.
volunteer job.
Without the details.
Yeah.
So I would, Pat? I would entertain a motion for Northwest. If somebody wants to approve the letter with those changes. Pat, you have something else?
The use of the Alameda corridor to make it easier.
Yes.
Okay.
Is that the traffic study that the ILW had requested?
Yeah.
Yeah, then I support it.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right, Lee. I mean, if they're out there, they're working, they know their schedule.
Yeah, I don't know the specifics of it.
Yeah.
I make a motion that Northwest, accept the letter as amended.
I'll second. Norman?
Thomas, I didn't call on you to vote earlier, did I?
Oh,
No, you didn't. I was a yes. I was wondering about that.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Feels disenfranchised.
Okay, so Thomas, like an
Well,
Can you vote on it now?
wasn't it technically the people that were online were not able to vote?
No, they can now vote. Now that was before, but Northwest, it's changed now.
For Northwest.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's changed. So I'm gonna call the roll then, Linda,
yes.
Pat,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Jason,
Yes.
and Diana, yes. And while I'm at it, Tom, how did you vote on the earlier motion?
If I'm called on now, I'll say yes.
Okay,
That's why I
figured you would.
seconded it, just so you wouldn't forget about me.
Oh.
sorry, I don't know how I missed you before.
And in Central, you've already passed yours, right? You passed.
Well, we passed a motion that was basically choosing the option for what we wanted out of the choices. But I mean, this addresses some of the EIR information that we could still address as a separate motion, but I like to bring it back to us because I'm not familiar with the letter myself.
Did you guys recommend the order version?
Yeah, there was a separate group that did a motion on that, and basically would pick which of the options were available.
But this is so impressive, very thorough.
Yeah, and I like to read it with time and just be able to understand.
Those are Wilmington amendments.
Yeah, exactly. So whatever amendments
Yeah,
are made, if I can
Yeah.
have a copy of that, then we can kind of look at that.
yeah, our problem is that we've got, if we were to meet between now, we have no chance to meet again between now and our board meeting because of the 4th of July.
Yeah.
Well, for us,
And our
we're
board meeting is on the 8th.
we're
so
next week, so we're good.
Oh, you're okay.
Is there a particular deadline in getting these comments?
Yeah.
15?
The 15th,
Of July?
yes,
When is the deadline to submit these comments?
July 15th.
So no, what do you want to do? Because
No, the 15th.
Yeah, I think comments were open until the 15th.
15th.
And I've been passing the information to anybody.
Because
So
coastal.
should-
Well, we wouldn't have time for the board to approve the letter before then.
That's what,
Our next meeting is not gonna be until, it is the
it
15th.
is the
Yeah,
15th,
so you can
right?
submit it that night right after the meeting.
Is it a midnight thing?
Well,
I said.
It's such a meeting earlier.
yeah, I think so. I always interpret it that way.
Yep,
Central.
I agree.
Yeah, that just
Well, yeah, in
realized
that
that.
case, we'll take take it back for.
And I can send it back.
We're gonna have a meeting.
It's a day late.
Yeah.
Regardless.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're just gonna have to submit it then.
Yeah, our meeting's on the 8th, so we're jammed time.
I mean, we don't have to, only-
So I'm good. Okay.
yeah, we don't have to have Robin's meeting only on a Saturday.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because I'm at a
Let's be
conference
flexible.
that the 13th. But whenever you
Well,
guys.
our agenda meeting is on the 8th. That's why we have. to have
That's
a
right,
before
you're
the
right.
agenda meeting, and that's why we have to have a coastline.
You're
meeting
right.
also before.
But you don't want to act tonight, right? On either of those?
No, because she's
Yeah.
gonna wanna go through everything that's in here and may come up with some more things. I'm, when we get done with this voting and stuff, I just wanna come back to the first page for. Minute.
And there are just a couple of things on the first page that were specific to.
Well, I'm just talking about this two-stage construction versus the three.
That's the one we don't understand the difference. Because
Yeah, well, the difference is the number of
It's the same.
stages.
It
And that's-
does on the website, though, I think it seemed like there was a typo that, the longer option only closed down one lane and left two lanes during, the flow of traffic time periods. And closed down one lane that they were working on at a given time instead of a lane on either side of going either direction.
See, the first, the two.
That's how I read it.
The construction staging option would leave one lane open in each direction for each stage. There would be two stages. That's one of the things that's different.
And the other ones.
And then they say the work. So if you go to the second one, this construction staging option. Construction, that word is in there, which is not in the other one, would leave one lane open in each direction. So they both talk about one lane open in each
No, I
direction.
suggest you go to the website and read their language directly off their website.
Yeah, if we're not taking a motion on that,
And
can we
let's move on.
just move on to the next item? We got quite a few items still. So we're gonna move on to item 5, letter to Metro regarding the C line extension. Jason.
Okay, so this is a letter we've already gone through with Northwest, but wanted to introduce it to the rest of the councils for consideration. Basically, this came from, I watched a presentation on the C line update and noticed that in their presentation, they had their vision in 1980, which showed San Pedro, curiously on the map for their destination. And yet in their right next to it illustration, we're not on the map. So that filling that gap, we understand it's a long-term goal, but in 2009, they at least studied it. The latest 2 studies they've done have only gone as far as PCH and the 110. And so while we may be knocking on closed doors, if we don't knock, they're never going to answer. So this is yet another opportunity to add comment to hopefully get them to see the need to get this study all the way to San Pedro. So that's basically what this is. Another point that is made in here is that with the port now reconfiguring the 47 ramp by Harbor, it will be taking away yet again more rail right-of-way that could have been used for this. So the longer they wait to do something, the more expensive, difficult, inconvenient, and disruptive it will be to ever get this rail to San Pedro, which is their eventual long-term goal, so they say. So I point that out, send it to Metro and copy our councilman and supervisor and blah, blah, blah.
I don't find it.
It's, well, it's in the packet. It got emailed out.
And we already passed it in Northwest. So we just wanted to share it so the other 2 councils could look at it and consider it at their next meeting.
Okay, I guess we'll add this too.
After dining?
I read it earlier. It's a good letter, Jason.
Yep.
No, I think it's great.
Mayor,
But
excuse me, could you add Mona Sutton as a panelist?
I asked her twice then.
She got disconnected and then,
I've asked her twice to promote.
Okay.
oh,
we'll find out.
okay, thank you.
thought she maybe didn't want to.
No, she wants to.
Yeah, now she did.
Thank you.
Yeah, I noticed twice, but maybe you didn't.
You look mad, Mona.
It's just a
Yeah,
lighting.
well, don't get me started.
We're gonna move on to the next item, which is outdoor dining ordinance. Linda Alexander.
Yeah, so I reviewed it. I also, the chamber is taking, letting PBID take the lead on this. Their executive director's out of town. The one other staff wasn't familiar with this. I did speak to Yolanda, and her perspective was that it really is just like they've been dealing with, and they don't have any complaints with it. But I don't think she'd read this completely, so we may want to pause.
Well, and there's the way that PBID is done is one thing there.
I was
If any other restaurants in San Pedro want to do outdoor dining, then this new ordinance would apply to that.
Yes.
Right.
And that's where the big difference is, of things outside of the PBID.
But what are the regulations the same?
I don't know.
Well, see that.
I didn't review
It
it.
appears, I had a very hard time seeing what the amendments addressed. And it seems I think Yolanda's point was, these are the regulations we've been dealing with, and we're okay with that.
Yeah, because they were entitled together as one large package. And I know there's been so much work done by so many community groups on this al fresco ordinance. A lot of work with the mayor's office on it. So Linda, were you charged with like finding any like issues with it, or because I thought that the mayor's office had reached agreement with a lot of the advocates.
No, I just pulled the agenda up.
Oh, okay.
So that I was,
No, you
I was asked to do something about it.
you suggested it, Linda.
Is there a time sensitive deadline on it, or is it just?
Don't know.
I think it's been adopted.
It's adopted.
No, I'm not
Because the
sure.
mayor's office has been doing outreach on the process, so. That's what I didn't know if there was something else that.
No, I thought you had some concerns you wanted to share with that.
Ah, okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Misled you.
Uh-huh. Okay,
Okay, very good. Well, we'll wait for reconsidering any information that we find.
Okay.
Next item, there was a request to present today, but the presenter for 7-Eleven on First and Yappy changed the date, so they were not able to come.
I have a lot to say about First and Caffey.
Oh, well,
I know we all do.
yeah, so basically what they're asking
does.
is to allow sale of alcohol at that particular 7-Eleven, which currently doesn't have. I was surprised. I thought they did.
I would have.
So the basics of what I understand from what they told me was that sales were gonna be till 10 p.m. And I brought up the issue with, like, having the news center across the street, but
Yeah.
at the other side of the street, were the homeless veterans. And so we already have a liquor store across the street.
Marijuana sales, the cannabis operations.
So there was those.
Have it all.
We could.
There were those issues, and they obviously said they would be security, cameras, and limited time of sales, so
So
that was so far what they had in money.
Mona has more information on this. Normally, we work through all the issues. That is such a problematic center. The condition of the center, maintenance, painting. I was in that 7-Eleven when a gang fight broke out in the middle of the street. It was frightening. They locked us down. The staff said it happens a lot. Don't call 911, everybody. It'll be over in a minute. This is a true story. We all hit the ground. I just think that there's a lot of work that needs to be done. Mona has been up there painting and working with the maintenance gentleman that works for the owners. Do you know who this owner is, Lee? Because I think the ownership needs to be involved in this,
I do not.
because it is wild up there. It's
Well,
wild at night up there.
I'd like to chime in a little bit of some history at that location. First in Gaffey, almost 30 years ago, that 7-Eleven was owned by a lovely businesswoman who had two others in other communities, and gave it a go for, she was at the location over almost 15 years. And we had a chance to talk because she was a customer of mine from time to time. But she ended up very frustrated because she wanted 30 years ago, long before the veterans housing was ever there, to have her beer and wine license, and went before and made the request over and over and over again over those years. And I found her very credible. And she told me every time that she would go before the ABC that her feeling was that the local ownership of all the liquor stores in the area, they'd all come and they would all actually provide individuals to come and testify.
That is a fact.
On their behalf, that they were in a sober living home or in the immediate area, and named the sober living homes that were right around the area. Toberman was probably mentioned and whatnot. But she said that the liquor store owners in the area successfully over and over, were able to keep her from getting that license, and gave every excuse they could possibly give, hardship stories about how difficult it is to maintain sobriety with, the potential of having the 7-Eleven have beer and wine sales there, kind of a thing. And, I really felt for her. And she finally said, you know what, I'm done. And, rents continue to go up. And that was a lot of years ago. People would like to earn. So the owner that has it now is the person that purchased it from her 18 or 20 years ago, however the heck long it's been. I have been in contact with him. He would love to have it. I haven't spoken with him recently, but I'll tell you that the store is immaculate. It's one of the nicest, most well-stocked 7-Elevens and cleanest that I've ever been in. I know that Elise, you're right, and everybody's right that that strip has had a lot of issues over the years, but they are doing better. And yes, they do have marijuana there as well. My personal feeling is that he does pay for. I'd actually like to see him have the opportunity, and I'd actually like to see him come before us and talk about his business model.
I agree, Mona. However, do we want to, is this an opportunity? And I normally don't like to do this, but is this an opportunity to engage the ownership on the issues occurring in that area at First and Gaffey?
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely. The actual property
I
owner.
would think that LAPD is gonna have a lot to say about this as well. I know the store's clean, I've been in it, but I've driven by at night, and sometimes it's chaos up there. And I think that there's an opportunity to say, you want this, but is there a better way that the ownership can manage the overall center?
Yeah, and I'm in complete agreement as well. And here's the thing in regard to getting a beer and wine license at the location, part of that is not allowing anybody to loiter on or around that building whatsoever. And there is at the bus benches consistently folks, some of our unhoused and others that do hang out at the bus bench there at First and Gaffey. So there is a lot going on there, but he does pay to have a security guard there 24/7 or whatever his actual hours are, which I do like and I do appreciate that effort as well. I'd like, and it is indeed an opportunity to bring the actual plaza ownership forward. You know, they are doing much better with their maintenance. Of course, the perimeter wall upgrades that myself and some of my volunteers did helped tremendously. Their maintenance guy is doing actually good cleanup and has painted the building some, which I'm happy about. So it looks
We
better,
appreciate you for working with.
right? But with the actual owners, that's something that is yet to happen, to have him come forward. And I'm not sure, it would be interesting to see if he would be actually interested at all in supporting his tenant in getting the beer and wine license. I'm not sure. Because it's the property owner versus the actual tenant of the 7-Eleven.
Yeah, I know, exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's just,
So this is a possible item for future.
Yeah,
That's what I think, yeah.
I mean, they haven't given me a possible date for the next
okay,
option, but we have been talking to them for at least a couple months.
yeah, no, I agree, I just, I would just like to hear from that owner.
Yeah, I mean,
Not 7-Eleven, center owner.
mm,
Because that's somebody that we tried to pull in on a Gaffney Street bid. Because that's something we're still interested in doing, and owners, they're difficult.
So what I think you're saying, Elise, is that when they contact you, Javier, you should ask them if they can bring the
owner,
the property owner, not
the managers, who's ever in control of the entire center.
I don't think they could bring that.
well, we could try, but I mean,
Yeah, that's my request.
their
That's what we
client
do.
is not necessarily them, because these are the lawyers doing the.
Oh, the
entitlement.
alcohol entitlement guys.
But ask the question.
Yeah, no, we could ask that. So as soon as I know, I'll bring it back.
Okay.
I have a question out there. How many times has this been brought to your attention?
Well, they've tried a couple times. They tried, I think in May, it was too late, and then June, we could not put it on the agenda. I mean, previous month, May, and then now, so this is the second time.
Is there a reason why this did not go to Central?
Yeah, because I didn't have a meeting, this month. And so the next available option, and I even asked them if they want to come to the board meeting, but it's all timing. So we'll see. Even though this would have been easier because they could have done it virtually.
Back to I want to make more comment in regard to law enforcement. It's fairly easy for us to request Harbor Division to have calls to service at that location pulled for, say, the last,
That's
1
a
to
great
3.
idea, Mona, because
1 to
maybe it has calmed down.
I'd
Yeah,
like to see what the last 12
I would
months look
too.
like, as
Can you
well as
reach
the.
For
Yes,
us?
I will. I will reach out
Okay.
and
Okay.
make the ask.
Okay,
for sure.
great.
Will do.
Okay. Excellent. That'll answer a lot of our questions.
Yeah, very good. So now we're moving on to item 8, which is updates on the items of interest to the committee.
What
Diana?
happened, 7?
7 was mine,
Yeah,
the
right here.
alcohol sales at Gaffney.
Yeah, info.
7-11.
What the heck thing am I looking?
You had a revised agenda?
No.
No, we got the.
Oh, here. Did I print the wrong one? No, there you go.
This
There's
is
the revised.
a secret agenda.
So I put a lot of the updates in writing because I knew we were
This
gonna
is
be many
great,
late.
Diana. Thank you.
But I do want to comment on E, the planned Western Avenue improvements, so that's the really big item here. They had Caltrans had a public meeting, and there was a lot, were you on the call, Lee? Was anyone else on the call?
No, I read some articles on it.
It was very, almost confrontational between the committee and Caltrans. The councilman was very upset because he had not been informed at all about this. He'd only found out about it from one of his constituents. The same was true of the city manager, I think it was, from RPV. He was also very upset. But what they're proposing to do is they've got money from the federal government to do upgrades to Western Avenue between 25th Street all the way up to the 405 freeway. They're talking about bicycle lanes, bus pads, upgraded sidewalks, upgraded crosswalks, bicycle oriented signs, curb ramps, and added amenities to the sidewalks and medians, whatever that means. Their presentation was so brief, it was hard to even wrap your hands around what they were proposing. I asked them to give us a map that showed specifically what they're proposing to do to which intersections where. Tim asked them to give us the EIR because the EIR had already been approved.
Whoa.
Yeah, and so he asked for a copy of that. What they're gonna put in is a class 2 bicycle path for at least part of the way. Be a 5-foot wide with pavements, stripage and signage with a 2-foot buffer zone. The way they've got those little buffer zones, which I think are crazy because people don't know how to cross them. Yeah, they don't work very well. They're talking about there would be no reduction in the number of lanes. The reduction would be in the width of the lanes, but not in the number of the lanes. There would be very little reduction in parking, but a couple of places close to intersections would lose some parking, but it wasn't clear how much.
It's not much parking on Western anyway.
No,
No, there,
There is between First and Summerlin.
yeah,
Oh,
and that seemed to be the big concern of people on the call. Lee, you have anything to add?
No, it was embarrassing.
It was embarrassing for Caltrans,
Did they
right?
say they give you on that?
Yeah, okay.
And they seem to be confused that why would San Pedro be upset about it? Because it was PV.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, when I asked for the map, they said, oh, Palos Verdes. I said, no. I said, we want the whole thing. It includes San Pedro.
So did
And
they?
on top of that, they didn't seem to be, they didn't seem to be aware of the
Vincent Thomas.
Vincent Thomas Bridge project. And the point was being made that, yeah, if those are at the same time, it would be really.
cool. They never seem to have that connection.
No.
It was.
Yeah, Caltrans. It was very embarrassing for Caltrans.
And they were supposed to do a few years ago a project where all of even the paving and the lanes, everything was going to be coordinated with the different agencies. So the one didn't just then dig up what the other had just completed the month before. What happened?
I remember that.
Remember that.
You were asking about.
Landscape and planting, enhanced landscaping is a part of this?
Get very good answer to that one.
They didn't take ownership to that, and council member pushed them on.
But RPV does have a beautification project for their part of Western.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking.
I think we'll include some of
so it's
that.
gonna look really nice on
Yeah.
one side.
Do you know if they've received the list of all the different projects similar to what you're sending to the Vincent Thomas? I heard talk of that on that call.
Yeah, but Victor, well, what Victor gave them was the projects that were outlined by Caltrans, but it doesn't include all the ones that we have here.
Be nice to send them.
Yeah, yeah, you're.
But if the EIR is approved, were they just saying this is what we're
Yeah,
doing? Oh.
they thought it was gonna be a softball and that everyone was just going to ignore that meeting.
Wow.
I was amazed at how many people were on the call. It was a lot of
Big
people.
turnout, yeah.
When was the, group?
I don't know, but Tim asked, he was quite surprised to find out.
Yeah, that's wild.
And so he's asked for a copy of it.
I think they said that they had sent all the info to the state and federal congressional representatives for the area, but they did not send any to the city folks.
Either of the cities.
Wow.
This is unreal. Okay, and then
Can we go back to
Yeah.
item C?
C,
Um,
Ecosim.
which item is that?
Ecosim, Pat, tell them what Ecosim.
Is that where they were manufacturing
Mhm.
the,
Cement substitute, yeah, yeah.
so is that actually going through?
They're expecting the final EIR out soon.
Mhm.
They needed to make some changes to the EIR to incorporate changes in the case law that resulted from the China shipping suit. But yeah, they're expecting the EIR out soon. So we've added it to the, it's one of the projects that we sent to Caltrans. Is that'll have a huge impact on traffic in Wilmington. And then I have a couple things to add to what's on here. The bowling alley we talked about was going to, was the Harbor Clinic was going to buy it. They were in escrow and they backed out because they decided it didn't meet their needs. And so they're still looking for another building, so it's back on the market.
It's not back on. Okay,
Oh, it's not, it did?
Again?
yes, it is sold. It is not, yeah, it's.
Do you know who bought it?
I do.
Can you say who bought it?
No.
Oh,
Yeah.
Tell us what they're gonna do with it.
If it's sold.
No, they don't know what they're gonna do with it yet.
Which property again?
Recorded.
Can you tell us what property Baxter has?
The Baxter High School.
Property, it was a church.
On the corner of.
It, Ninth and Pacific.
Used to be a bowling alley when I was a kid.
It
Yeah,
is a
It was
beautiful.
a car dealership.
It was the old,
If it's sold.
Development there across the street.
The Baxter Alliance School.
You know where that?
southeast corner of
Ninth.
Yeah,
Ninth and Pacific.
across from El Taco.
Across from the new, affordable.
It's something lovely.
what, can't tell us anything at all, give us a
If it's,
clue.
wait a minute, if it's sold, it's been recorded,
It's public info.
and it's public info, what,
The info I have is in public, but I'm not convinced that they know what they're going to do with it yet. They're putting it out for bid in terms of different tenants that could possibly make use of it as a rental situation. But
And they might get a lot of interest in that
Good.
situation,
Good.
actually.
it could be a situation where you have multiple tenants filling different parts of the building.
Gorgeous.
How big is it? Never been there.
It's huge. It's
Baxter invested a fortune
huge.
in
I can't remember the exact number.
it's living space up above it.
Had a barber shop next door.
It's not 88.
Isn't it originally a private?
So the next thing is.
That's a shame. It went for like 4.5. It was originally 12 million.
Wow,
Oh,
wow.
Well, look, the shopping center behind on
Was-
Western and 25th, that took a tremendous haircut.
Yeah,
Very fast.
it went, they had $12 million just in improvements in that building. And so for it to go for 4.5, that was a fire sale. They gave it
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was in escrow at 8 and was in escrow at 10.
Wow.
Do you think all these gangs incidents are starting to affect our real
No,
estate in
no.
that area?
No, I think the biggest thing is the interest rates are really
Oh, well, of
problematic.
course, but
And then the cost for construction and
Yeah,
for adaptive
everything,
reuse.
everything is
Yeah.
Huge. So the next item,
What the per square foot cost is.
I can't remember off the top of my head.
the next item is I inadvertently omitted an item when I revised the agenda. And that was the CIS that deals with ED1, the Mayor's Directive 1 and historical areas. We had previously discussed some changes to Executive Directive 1 that were being proposed as amendments to a proposed ordinance. Unfortunately, that ordinance seems to be stalled. There is some pressure, they're trying to put pressure to move it along, but it seems to be stalled.
Okay,
So Councilwoman Yaroslavsky introduced a motion that contains one of the proposed changes, and that's the one that's specific to the HPOZs, the Historic Preservation Overlay Zones. So this is very particular to Central. So that motion, I sent it out today to everyone and put it in the agenda packet. What it would do is it would restore the review process that's designed to ensure that all development, including 100% affordable housing, is not out of scale and is in compliance with the HPOZ preservation plan. You know, there's a group that meets and reviews plans. And so it will restore that part to the process. That's all it does, basically.
Oh, that was great.
So you may want to take that up.
okay.
And if you're concerned about historic preservation, and I know some of you are,
Yes, looking at.
Yeah.
you may want to also look at AB 2580. And then another one, the Senate Bill 7 removes a local jurisdiction's ability to challenge the state RENA numbers and mandates consideration of all restrictive zones for potential zoning. Mandates that they look at all zones for potential upzoning. I misspoke.
That has that passed?
No, this is just being proposed.
Yeah, that's.
You may want
yeah.
to look at Senate bill.
That's.
That was it.
Reports are not accurate.
And then next, we'll try to do the. All of the ones. Yes, Elise.
Can we add to the next agenda or one of the upcoming agendas, the art port? There, it's called Art Port. There's a concept coming forward at 22nd and, oh my God. It's the old
22nd.
Alvin Johnson's old warehouse. What is that street right there where the condos?
It's 22nd and Crescent.
Crescent, thank you.
Oh, the blue.
There's
the
an
blue
arts organization that's looking at the old warehouse as an arts development where they would have creative space that Angels Gate would monitor. I have no words left today, I'm tired. But that they would be involved in managing, and then they're looking at installing sculpture at the 22nd Street Park as one project, and it mirrors the connectivity plan proposal. So the gal is she's looking for support, and I thought maybe she would be amazing. She's very well regarded in the arts world, highly recommended by Amy Erickson, and it might be interesting to have her. Okay, why are you looking?
Nothing, no, I'm not looking, I can't
Is
comment.
it that big blue building?
No, it's that, you know, that funky old warehouse that the former the deceased Alan Johnson used to. I'm sorry, the other Alan Johnson used to call him Days, may rest in peace, that Alan Johnson's warehouse.
Oh.
Is it Mesa? Okay, because I try that way every day and I'm like, I don't know. So anyway, it's just, and I have all kinds of materials on it, but I thought it's a fascinating concept. She's going aggressively after funding for major arts organizations and private donors, and it might be interesting.
Great.
And then I have one update on 1309 West Pacific. And Mona and I have been in contact with Martin Cully, and the tagged and graffitied scaffolding is coming down tomorrow. He has given us permission that if the new construction fence is going up, there's fabric going on it. If it gets tagged, Mona has a plan to deal with the tagging on the fabric. Martin's given us authorization to address any tagging on the fabric. And he also went over to Harbor Division today to file a no trespass order on that property because there is an encampment forming. So they're gonna get that handled. Mona, did I miss anything?
Jeez.
You know, I'm glad that you brought it up because Leslie and I had a chance to discuss it briefly since our conversation. And we both have come to the conclusion that we would like to advise Martin Cully to think about not putting the screening up on that site so that it can be open for inquiring eyes to continue to view it. I personally love to see the ground, you know, the earth there, and the walls. I don't like the graffiti on the walls, but it leaves it for public safety open so that everybody can see what's going on there in regard to you know, the criminal vagrant issues. So
yeah, I will let you address that with Martin. Sometimes it's a requirement of the development approvals for dust mitigation.
Yeah, it's the.
got it.
But
Okay.
definitely, but you go for it.
Does that mean they're
Okay.
moving forward with construction?
He said that they are working through issues on the construction timeline, more to follow. I'm sure it's a financing issue, as every developer in San Pedro is having financing issues.
Just on that, I got a call just the other day from a woman who lives in the house right next to the project. It's the first one on 14th Street in Pacific.
Yes.
Raylan,
Mhm.
it's her and her mom, and she said that a bunch of homeless people have pitched a tent like right underneath,
Right.
and they sit on their wall all night.
Right.
long.
Yeah.
That's
So-
what we're
Drugs
talking
and-
about. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what
And
we're.
Martin has talked maybe to that family, but also to another
I sent you the
family.
details, so.
And they're trying to get a handle on that. I guess they're jumping the fence, going back and forth between his property and their property. So she did mention that today, that that's
Somebody
something they're
with it,
working
too.
on. But I'll just circle, Mona, will you circle back around with him on that if you talk to him?
I certainly will. Thank you.
That's it.
Very good.
Good meeting. Thank you for
Wait.
this list, Diana.
We have one more item, public comment and items not on the agenda, so.
Well, I want to, items of interest to the committee, I was gonna say something.
Okay.
Bring it up.
AB 2560, that was the assembly bill by Alvarez that basically proposed to not have any coastal act protections on density bonus projects that were proposed in the coastal zone. That was amended in the Senate committee just the other day, which what a lot of people wanted. And it passed unanimously after the amendments, and the vast majority of the opposition was opposition unless amended. And essentially what happened is in the coastal zone, this section does not relieve a project relying on the provisions of this section from the requirement to obtain a coastal development permit as required by section 30600 of the Public Resources Code. Any density bonus concessions, incentives, waivers, or reductions of development standards and parking ratios to which the applicant is entitled under this section shall be permitted in a manner that is consistent with this section and does not result in a significant adverse impact to coastal resources and public coastal access pursuant to Chapter 3 of Division 20, commencing with 30200 of the Public Resources Code. And then they want to make a pairing amendment in the Coastal Act, and they're going to take out no local coastal program shall be required to include housing policies and programs and change that to it's the intent of the legislature that this division and state density bonus law be harmonized so as to achieve the goal of increasing the supply of housing in the coastal zone while also protecting coastal resources and public coastal access. And then on or before July 1st, 2026, any local government in the coastal zone that has not done so already shall submit to the Commission for certification and amendment to the local government's local coastal program that harmonizes the applicable provisions of the density bonus law and this division pursuant to subdivision government code, blah, blah, blah. If local government submits, this is the final thing, if a local government submits to the Commission for certification and amendment to the local government's local coastal program, that would add a provision stating that any density bonus concessions, incentives, waivers, or reductions of development standards and parking ratios to which the applicant is entitled under this section shall be permitted in a manner that is consistent with policies of the local coastal program to the greatest extent feasible, does not result in significant adverse impacts to coastal resources and coastal public access, and would make no other changes to the local coastal program. The amendment shall be processed as de minimis pursuant to subdivision, blah, blah, blah. That's great. It's like basically saying instead of the original version of 2560, which was like, sorry, Coastal Act density bonus rules, and we're going to do whatever we want in the coastal zone, and there's not going to be Coastal Act protections anymore. Now there are, and you have to not take away public access and not have negative impacts on coastal resources. You need to harmonize the density bonus and the Coastal Act so that they're friends rather than enemies. You achieve the goal of getting more housing, but you just make sure that it's not going to have a negative impact on coastal resources or public access. And that's what the opposition wanted, and that's what's happened. So it's a very good thing.
Who's Alvarez? Who does he?
He's from San Diego. Yeah.
Very good. Well, that's it. And
Public comment.
public comment? Anybody?
This,
Seeing none?
wait, you're not gonna speak on that tonight? Okay. The item about the Point Fermin Cafe.
We took that off.
Yeah, oh, I know.
Okay,
From comment.
Yeah.
that was the public comment.
I move that we adjourn.
Second that, and our next meeting is July 24th.
For you. Bye.
Just, I'm at a conference in.
Good night, everyone.
It is. Thank you. Oh, my, with, the coastal land use.